Hello CTU students, this is Kyle with McGraw-Hill, and this is the third video that we're making for using Connect in your CTU courses. We're going to stick with the HSS 121 demo, but just keep in mind what we talk about today will apply to any of your Connect courses that have Learnsmart or Smartbook assignments. Okay, so if I open up week 1, you'll see that I have 2 assignments in here that have the big LS next to them, and that means that they are Learnsmart assignments. Learnsmart is a study tool that we created. It's going to be book specific, so you'll see a chapter next to it. That means chapter 1, and it ties directly into this textbook. So basically what these assignments do is they help you as a student focus on the important portions of each chapter. They're not quizzes or tests or exams, but they are meant to get you ready for quizzes, tests, and exams so you get higher grades. So that's one thing. The second thing that I want to point out when we talk about these types of assignments is right or wrong answers don't really matter. It's all about persistence. So with these assignments, you've got a certain number of questions that you have to answer in order to complete the assignment. Once you get through those questions, the assignment's finished, you have 100%. So it's a pretty safe environment for you to learn. I mean, this is truly a personal study tool. So this is what, we're trying to focus you on what's important to you. The program knows exactly when to include it, and it's going to ultimately result in you mastering the material. So I'm going to click on this Chapter 1 Learnsmart assignment. And the first time that I click on this, it's going to ask me for an alias, and I'll explain that in just a moment. But you're also going to notice that it takes you to Smartbook. So usually the first time you come in, you'll see a video, it'll ask you for an alias, and it'll take you into Smartbook. That's just the default. And after you watch this training video, you may want to go into Smartbook every time, that's fine. But for the sake of explaining how everything works, I'm going to start in Learnsmart. Okay, so if I click on Go to Learnsmart, it's going to ask me if I want to make this default. I'll say not now, and we'll go into Learnsmart. Alright, so as stated, the first time you come in, you're asked to choose an alias. You can pick anonymous, or you can create a nickname or something like that. There's a gaming feature built into this to make it fun while you study and to make it competitive with your classmates and across the country, and we'll get into how that works, but the alias is what will appear next to your score, so you don't want to put in your real name necessarily, but you certainly have the option to choose whatever you'd like for the alias. So then we've got the layout. You come to this landing page, you see that each one of these little portions down here has a number and then a title. So number 4, the skeletal system, number 5, muscles and tendons. These directly correlate to the chapters in your textbook. Alright, so Learnsmart is a study tool that's going to go chapter by chapter and make you focus on what's important and what's essential in each of the chapters so that you become a more effective learner and student. If you ever want to go into any of these other chapters, you can just drag the toolbar at the bottom and you can click on any of these chapters. It'll load up and you can jump right in. Okay, but for the sake of this, I'm going to stick with chapter 1, which you can see that I've already done some work here. Alright, so on the left hand side it tells you what chapter you're in and what you're expected to learn. On the right hand side it gives you a little information about when this is due and your current progress. So then when I'm ready to get in and start studying, I just click Learn. Alright, and it takes me right in. First thing you'll see up here is that it says there are 11 items left, and this just lets you know how much you've got left in this assignment before it's finished. On the right hand side you'll see the standings, and this is that gaming function that I talked about. So this is completely optional. By default it's set on standings for all, and this is going to be everybody in the country that's working in this chapter. If I click one more time, it's going to go standings for your section. Since I don't have any students in here, it's just me in my section. And if you're ever having a rough time of it, or you decide you don't want to see this anymore, you can click disabled and you're not visible to anybody. Okay, so that's a way to kind of turn it off. Last thing, let me pull this up again. Before we answer any of these questions, you'll note that there are some choices here. So you've got I know it, think so, unsure, and no idea. And the reason that this here is twofold. One, it helps Learnsmart decide what you should see next, and 2, it's what gives you your scoring up here for the gaming function. So if I click no idea, I'm going to get plus or minus 0. Unsure is plus or minus 50. Think so, plus or minus 60. I know it is plus or minus 70. Once again, to repeat what I said at the beginning, this is all about persistence. So this score that you have up here does not affect your overall score for the assignment. The assignment's just going to be based on if you can complete it or not. So if I can put the time in to get these 11 items done by the end of the day, I'm getting 100%. Okay, so those two, the final score and the score that you get up here in the gaming function are not related. All right, so I'm going to click I know it and go with ologist. All right, it gives me feedback, tells me I was correct. I click OK, and you'll see that this goes down to 10 items left. All right, so the disease of the heart muscle is, and I'm going to say I have no idea, and it tells me. All right, so this is a function that we have built in where you know, if you get a wrong answer or if you don't know, we have no problem letting you know the answer because ultimately this is study. We know that you're going to learn while you're in this program, and this isn't your test where you have to prove to us that you know everything, okay? I'm going to click one more question here. So myocardium consists of heart, blank, and I'm going to say I'm unsure. I'm going to guess muscles. It looks like I was correct on this one. I click OK, and this is going to go down to 9. And now let's talk about this. So first of all, you've seen a couple different types of questions. So we've had a true-false, we've had some fill in the blank. This is a multiple choice. So there are a lot of different question types that you're going to see. The other thing that to note is these 9 items up here that I've got remaining, they're not set in stone. So I can't just go in and trick the system and say, okay, the gland at the base of the male bladder is the, and say I have no idea, okay, prostate. So next time I see the gland, I'm going to remember prostate. Every now and then you'll get the same question again, but by and large, Learnsmart is going to ask you the question in many different ways. And it's going to do that so that you can't just, you know, rote memorize all the questions. We really want you to learn these questions, or the answers to these questions, so that you can build a knowledge base. So that's why you're not going to see a lot of the same questions. The other thing to keep in mind is if you're doing really well with the core content for this chapter, these 9 items might completely change for you, and they might become some topics that allow you to take your learning to the next level, so to develop the core content into something more meaningful. Okay, so that's how Learnsmart works. It's a pretty simple program. It's all about personalized study and practice. If you want to click on Smartbook, which we'll do, and you have to decide if you want to make that your default view or not, I'll say not now, and then I can always go back and change that later. So when I switch over to Smartbook, you're going to see that it's very similar in look and feel to Learnsmart. Just keep in mind that all of your progress from Learnsmart filters over because they're essentially the same tool. It's just with Smartbook, we've incorporated an interactive ebook experience on top of the Learnsmart platform. So I'm going to click on Smartbook Chapter 1 and then Learn. And you'll see that when I come into the preview, I've got my quick snapshot preview that kind of shows me what I'm going to learn here. And it breaks it down into themes for the chapter. If you're one of the students that's competitive and you're doing the gaming feature, you can click Outline Chapter and you basically do a drag and drop and then click Evaluate, and you can get additional points for this chapter. I've already done it for this, but just keep that in mind. It's completely optional. I'll go back, and everything's going to be broken into reading and then practice and recharge. So we click Read. And by default, it's going to take me into where I left off. I'm going to back this up to the first page of the book and just walk you through some of the general usability. You can always do the 2-page split or 1-page. I typically prefer the 1-page. If you want to get rid of the Smartbook functionality, you can click this button and it hides all the Smartbook specific components and stretches out the page so that you can get more of the book on the screen. To go page to page forward, you just click the yellow arrow. Alright, and it's the same to go back. If you want to hop section to section, you can do so with the blue arrows, and the same to go back. And you can also move forward and backwards by this little progress bar, and once you are where you'd like to be, this is probably, I think, the easiest way to navigate is just by clicking the blue arrow. At any time, if you want to decrease the size or increase the size, you can do so by clicking the little a or the big A. And now let's take a look at what's going on the page. So this is the interactive ebook experience that we've got that's tied into your Learnsmart questions. So this is your ebook, but you'll note that there are some differences between the standard textbook and what you're seeing here. First of all, we've got some grayed out areas. So if I ever want to turn those off and make everything black and white, I can just click on the grayed out areas. And to turn them back off, I just click again. But those are areas that we feel, based on the Learnsmart questions that you're going to answer, are not as important. So while you're reading, we want to maximize your efficiency and make sure that everything that you're doing is focused and on task, and it's going to be beneficial for you. So that's why we have grayed some areas out. Those are the areas that you should read only if you have a lot of extra time to study at this point. We've also got some areas that are in black and white. Those are fine for you to read because they lead into very important areas which are highlighted. So you'll see that we've got some green highlights as well as yellow highlights throughout the textbook. Green highlights signify something that you've already answered some Learnsmart probes on. Yellow highlights are going to be new material. And keep in mind that these are directly correlated to your Learnsmart assignments. So these are going to be really effective in helping you learn the material that you're going to be asked about later in Learnsmart. So now that you can kind of see how this works, and you see that I'm in here and this material is going to directly correlate to what I'm questioned on, at any time, we don't want to force you to stop your reading experience, but we do let you know that as you study through this brain up here starts to accumulate numbers. And this means based on how you've been reading. So for me, for this example, in Chapter 1, I've amassed 10 questions that Learnsmart is going to ask me based on what I've been focusing on in my reading. At any time, I can click Practice, or I can click on the brain, and it'll take me directly into those questions. All right, so I come up here, and it says, name the suffix that means cell. I'm going to say that I'm unsure, and I guessed that one correctly. All right, so I click OK, and I'm down to 9 now, and you'll see that my point value changed over here because this is all just Learnsmart again. So the prefix that means small is, and I'm going to say I'm unsure with this, and I'm going to guess micro. I'm correct. I go down to 8. So now I get to a true and false. Many medical terms allow you to change them from singular to plural by adding S. And let's say I didn't know the answer to this. All I have to do, if I'm in the book, let's say I want to keep going with my Learnsmart, but I'd actually like to see what it says in the book, I can click Read About This. And this is really cool. This actually brings me right into the portion of the textbook that covers this, and it's going to allow me to read about this particular question. Okay, so I read over here on this side, and it's telling me singular and plural forms. All right. And it looks like S is not going to be a good way to do this, so I'm going to say I know it and false. All right, and I was able to use this to get the correct answer. I click OK, and it's going to bring me right back into Learnsmart. All right, so that's how you use Smartbook to study. Keep in mind, too, that at any time, based on how you're doing, in your Learnsmart questions, you can click on the ebook or the read to go back into the reading. And based on how you answered, the highlights kind of change. So maybe if I'm struggling with a certain topic, it might turn some of this grayed out area on and highlight it so that I focus on that. So it's a really unique and interactive experience, and it helps you to make sure that you're focusing on exactly what you need to see and exactly when you need to see it so that you can have success in your course. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about is the reports. You've got access to a lot of reports as a student. You can see your topic percentage scores. So if I click on this, it's going to break down everything by topic and by chapter and kind of tell me how much time I've been spending and my correctness, for lack of a better term. All right, if I click Reports Home, I can go back. Current learning status. Once again, this is all about completing. So for the first chapter, I've got 65% of this done. If I were to do no more work on this and the due date comes, then I would get a 65% because it's all about completion. All right, you've also got the missed questions. This one's really nice. If you click on this, it's going to show you the questions that you've missed the most, and you can actually try them right from here. Okay, so if I click OK and go back, it's going to take me back into the missed questions. Next up, you've got most challenging learning objectives. This is kind of the 10,000-foot view. This shows you some topics that you're struggling with, but it also shows you the pages that correlate. So if you click on the page and you click Take Me There, it'll take you right into that page of the book so that you can read about it. Okay, so this is probably, that particular function is probably most effective for students who are using Learnsmart, because if you're using Smartbook, you're already going to be able to kind of do that on your own. Okay, so self-assessment, you know, at the beginning when you say, I know it, I think so, just guessing and no idea, well, this tells you what percentage of the time you're right. So that's why we ask you to take that portion seriously, because you can get a lot of useful data about how you are as a learner. Tree of knowledge, this one's pretty cool. Okay, so this shows what I added to my tree of knowledge today. You can see it's not too impressive now. Yesterday, though, I had nothing, because this is a demo and I've just, you know, come in and answered 5 or 6 questions, so it's not going to do too much. If I keep this pace up in 1 month, not too impressive. This will be more impressive for you if you are using this every day. And then when I master everything, ta-da, I'm going to get a nice, beautiful tree of knowledge. And this is just a good visual representation of the knowledge that you're adding as you work through the course. All right, so the final thing that I'm going to show you is the practice quiz. All right, in the practice quiz, you can actually select sections. So since I've only worked in this one, I'm going to select this. You click up in the top and you can decide how many questions you want to be in your practice quiz. I'm going to go with 15. And you click Start Quiz. The cool thing about this is it's going to be core content, so you're going to definitely get quizzed on the things that are really mission critical. But after that, it's going to start to push in things that are specific to you. So questions that you didn't have a high confidence level on, or questions that you missed a lot. So it's another way that we personalize your learning in the program. Okay, so that is Learnsmart and Smartbook. These tools live inside of Connect, and they're very useful in helping you to maximize your study efficiency. Hope that this helps, and I wish you luck at CTU. Thanks.